Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever on this planet that you are. Welcome to Gestalt Open Mic. My name is Roll I Am, and I am honored to be your host. And yes, I am not Amy. If you came still expecting to see Amy, she is here. But Amy now gets to sit back as the founder of this prestigious open mic. Because the end of last year, she tapped me on the shoulder and asked if I would consider taking it over. She needed to step away for herself. She's been doing it for a while, and I consulted with Miss Anjie, and we said, yeah, let's take it on, because I would hate to see another open mic fall by the wayside, especially one that so many people value. So as much as she thanks me, and I did get your message last night, Amy, but I knew I would see you today, thanking me again for what I'm doing. I thank you for reaching out to us and asking the Inspired Poetry Corner to carry on the tradition. Just to let everyone know, and the loyal faithfuls to this open mic, we're not going to change anything. We're just going to continue as it's going. At the end of the year, we'll sit down and review things. We'll even ask for your input, but our intent is just to keep this open mic going in the tradition of what Amy has started. Having said that, I just want to take a moment to say, Amy, thank you so much for what you have done. And it's not that your work is done, but what you have done to this point in regards to providing a platform for the poet family to come together on a monthly basis to share what's in their hearts and what's in their minds and their imagination, and to create a space where people feel safe and welcome. So I think it's important that we acknowledge you and what you have done over the last few years. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give her some flowers, give her a big snap. It's so good to see you here tonight. Yeah, you deserve it, and it's good to know that your baby will continue. So.
I agree, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. You and Anjie both.
Well, like I said, it's our honor to carry on what you've started. And I know what it's like to pass something on. So it's not always easy, but it depends on who you're leaving it to that makes it easier. So like I said, I'm grateful that you thought of me and Miss Anjie and the Inspired Poetry Corner. So I just wanted to acknowledge you. So sit back and enjoy. Sit back and enjoy. So
thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you're well. Like I said, whatever part of the world you're in, I hope you're warm and safe. Not everyone has the privilege and luxury that we do. So be grateful for what you have, where you are. Even with some of the ailments that we may all be going through, speaking to some of the poets that came on earlier, especially as you get older, I would say God has a very peculiar sense of humor. Just as you think you finally figured it out and you got everything going, then the body starts falling apart. So even with that, I hope you're grateful, because we are fortunate. As much as I am, I'm fortunate I'm in a warm place. I'm in a relatively safe place. So I'm grateful to be here. And I'm grateful I got up on the right side of the dirt. And this is the actually only thing that I'm doing today. So this is how important it is. I kind of cleared my schedule for everything so I can have the energy, because I wanted to make sure that that this continues on in the same tradition. It's just a different face. Obviously not as pretty and beautiful as Amy, but I'll make do with this. Hopefully it's not too bad. Anyway, guys, let's get into this, because we have an amazing feature that's going to kick off 2025 for us, and then we have a strong, hearty list of poets that want to share in support of Rocco's feature. So, Rocco, you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. Let me do the intro first. I just wanted to see if you're ready to go. But
okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here today not just to welcome 2025 and then the Gestalt Open Mic, but we're here today to honor one of our own. Today we're honoring Rocco de Giacomo. Hope I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing that right. He lives in Toronto with his wife, Lisa, a fabric artist. his daughters Ava and Matilda. He's a widely published poet whose works have appeared in literary journals in Canada, Australia, England, Hong Kong, and the US. The author of numerous poetry chapbooks and full-length collections, his latest casting out on the reconciliation of the author's secular lifestyle and their deeply evangelical upbringing, was published in April of 2023. Rocco is unknown to me, so I'm really looking forward to what he has to say and the sharing of his poetry. But before you mute your mics, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round, warm welcome to our first feature of 2025, Rocco de Giacomo of Toronto.
Woo! Hey! Yay!
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me. I really appreciate your warm welcome. I think I'm just going to jump right in. The book, my latest book, is called Cat. Well, I don't know if you can see that. Maybe not. Casting Out. There we go. And it is kind of a chronicle of my upbringing and my kind of journey through evangelicalism, which is it's a sect of Protestantism, and I kind of always introduce it as it heavily focuses on what is broadly known as the end times, and to experience it, I've often compared it to, or to know what it's like is, I've often compared it to imagining that you are playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons where you're fighting demons, you're fighting monsters, except that at the end of the game, you don't pack everything up and go back to your normal lives. The game is your life. It's the idea that you are constantly in this kind of spiritual warfare, and you are constantly under attack by demons. And at any moment, of course, you could be taken up, you could vanish into thin air, and be raptured up into heaven, if you're worthy. And be spared the 7 years of trials and tribulations, where the Antichrist, usually it's someone from the UN, takes over the world, and and God forbid unifies everybody. After that, there's a big, huge war, Armageddon, and Jesus eventually returns on a horse, I think a flying horse, and he has either a spear or a flaming sword, and he casts the Antichrist back into hell. And there's I think 1,000 years of peace and happiness, and at the end of the 1,000 years, everyone is lined up and judged. And I guess all your bullies from when you're a kid, everybody's ever picked on you, everybody who's ever laughed at you is probably going to go to hell, and you'll be there at the right hand of God, kind of enjoying your vindication. It is a form of morbid cosplay, excuse me. I've kind of grew up with that, and I grew out of it. But I want to share some of those experiences. And so I'm going to read from the first poem in the book, called "For Then Shall Be Great Tribulation." Bank cards are the beginning, Mom says. The Antichrist will make sure you can't buy food without his number tattooed on your arm. Grandma sits beside me in the back seat, says 666, as if completing one of her crosswords. Dad pumps the gallons, dwelling not on the opening of the seals of judgment, nor on the sun turning black as sackcloth, but the development of prime real estate outside of Wakefield, Rhode Island. They're already turning against Israel, Mom says. Whatever you do, you must never, never side against Zion. Won't matter anyway, Grandma says. We're all going to be taken up. Except your father, giggles Mom, as he climbs up into the van. He doesn't respond, although he can guess, and this has been a 9-hour drive already. God damn it, the end times at a Sunoco and Cheektowaga. Is she going to talk about this all day? For Christ's sake, Harriet, would you stop? He'll eventually say, loudly. And maybe she'll stop. Or she'll take a long sip of her Pepsi through the straw, peer down the remainder of the I-95, and decide the rapture could happen over the Peace Bridge. And then, poor Vito, suddenly alone in all that quiet. I grew up in the 1980s, and I don't know if everybody remembers the Satanic Panic. And what was funny is the comedian Nate Bargatze also grew up as an evangelical kid in the 1980s, and he said evangelical parents were the least fun parents in the world. And one of their targets, one of their biggest enemies was Dungeons and Dragons. And it got so intense that the founder of Dungeons and Dragons, Gary Gygax, was actually interviewed by 60 Minutes. And because of kids going apparently crazy after they play the game. So this is called the Satanic Panic. In 1985, 60 Minutes host Ed Bradley sits down with Dungeons and Dragons co-creator Gary Gygax, asks him, if you found 12 kids in murder-suicides with one connecting factor, wouldn't you question it? This is the 80s, after all. Ozzy Osbourne is sending suicidal messages to teen boys, and 10-year-olds are shouting at their mothers from the rumble seats of custom cruisers. He-Man is the master of the universe now, Mom, not God. Beelzebub is waiting in the Ouija boards to possess teen girls just to spite Oral Roberts, who has to put on his Saturday night slippers and shuffle to the front porch where stricken youths have gathered and say, I cast ye out in the name of Jesus, Psalms 8:2. From the mouths of babes come stories of tunnels under daycare centers, of cellar stairs leading to shrines covered in chicken blood. And Halloween is pagan, the moon is red, the second coming is going to be wonderful. And your second cousin down in Buffalo has got demons in him again from all those damn games and that heavy metal garbage. And Gary Gygax looks at Ed Bradley, hunches his shoulders, his voice already way down the hall. He says, of course I question it, but none of this is scientific. This is not scientific at all. As I said, we were always under attack. And I grew up partially on a farm outside of Toronto, and here's just an example of one of the things that happened. It's called windstorm. In the panic grass, we hold hands and pray. Grandma is in the hospital again, and Mom shouts Jesus' name from the edge of the old foundation wall. Dad says we could lose the farm again this time. I cast you out, Mom shouts into the tumult. And in chorus, we lean in and repeat after her. The oldest hollers and whoops for the Son of God as the long green blades of grass are blown flat around us. In Jesus' name, Mom says, I invoke a circle of protection around this farm and this family. Weeks later, Grandma is home, The farm is still ours, and we are radiant over our fried egg sandwiches, recollecting how the wind died suddenly and how we could feel Satan vacate. Dad is out at the baker's dozen across from the farmer's depot. He's buying more bags of day-olds to stave off the money collectors. And I think that I had a traditional family where my mom was full on like evangelical. My dad, I guess, as long as she took care of the house, um, and he just kept doing what he was doing, which was real estate and in business. But he never fully, he never really bought into it. And I guess they had their own separate worlds. Um, I wanted to share a few things. I came out of it, and I'm trying to raise my daughters um, in a more secular way. Um, and I have written some about my experiences growing up, raising two daughters. And some of my poems, I've used quotes from the Bible and have attempted to undermine the quotes. And so this poem is entitled, "Oh, my people, their oppressors are children, and women rule over them." And this is from Isaiah 3:12. My eldest daughter refuses to flush the toilet, shouts, "No, I want you to look at it," before running off, giggling, as her little sister yells, "I want new milk," from the dining table, while I scramble around the kitchen in a t-shirt and boxers, trying to customize their spaghetti dinners. These are the end times. The signs are everywhere. How many seals have been broken in this house alone as I peel Play-Doh wrappers and Play-Doh off my back? How many horsemen have knocked and turned their red faces from the uncomfortable sight of me in my underwear, wrestling the dog for the screen door? And I said, "Come and see." And they looked at their watches and said, "Oh, look at the time. We really have to be going." And really, in the news, the Earth is sliding further on its axis, faster than the scientists can track. And I imagine roomfuls of partially bald men studying the numbers. Used to being in control, they stare worriedly out of adamant windows as the center of the universe slowly slips from under them. How much more time do I have? I've just kind of lost track.
You can do about 3 or 4 more if you want.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
I think we're all in your offerings, so.
Okay. All right. This is another poem where I attempt to undermine, a quote from the Bible. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord. Ecclesiastes 26:14-15. I want you to. Oh, and one of my daughters named his names is Matilda. I want you to know, Tilda, that despite the fact that I grimace and pinch the bridge of my nose and utter things under my breath as you trail behind me, you are right to complain that you're tired of walking, even before we've exited the garden gate, and that your socks feel funny, and that you don't want to blow your nose, that your sister won't share, that your sister won't play, that you don't want to play, that you never get a treat, that sharing is caring, Ava, that you hate your sweater and your snowsuit, that you never get to watch YouTube, that I'm not the boss, that no one is the boss. Sometimes I succumb to temptation and tell you to quit whining. Oh, let's be honest, it's more than sometimes. It's hard, really hard not to. And I know I should just let you swing away at the way things aren't. On every screen, a principal is sending another girl home because of her shorts. A bro is trying to explain primates to Jane Goodall. And another council of old men make decrees on women's bodies. It's God's plan, they say. Tilda, I have to learn to keep quiet while you stretch and flex your disgruntled yawp against the unfair kitchen walls, the oppressive snowbanks, the unjust bedtimes we've set. Tomorrow so very much needs your tiny belligerences. I'm going to read two more. This is my personal favorite of of uh, of the book, and it's because it's the guilt I feel after reading Noam Chomsky, um, and it's called Noam Chomsky Whispers in Your Ear. It's all right. I understand. Netflix is easy. Changing the trajectory of the planet, not so much. There are risks out there pricklier than a jar full of hornets, and soft as the couch at the end of the day. You know a little more about death squads in Quito or the meaning of militant Salafism. I get it. So what? They'll build a telescope in the Atacama to peer into star nurseries, and mothers will kneel in the shadow of its lens and dig for the bones of their disappeared. Poetry exists without your words. I've spent decades speaking to empty rooms, and now there is no town hall in the country that can house my numbers. It's the accumulation of the tiniest actions, fingers turning the earth's loam, that upsets the machinery. The astronomers perched before the Leviathan will scratch their heads as, hundreds of feet below, little hands stir the dirt and shake the stars, digging up the truth. Um, I'm going to just switch. I feel I'm going to read something that's not in the manuscript, and it's kind of inspired by a book I finished reading called "In Defense of Looting," um, and it kind of sheds new light on the elites telling us that violence is never the answer, and the kind of the defanging of of great activists, um, kind of the whitewashing of them into peaceful, um, peaceful kind of benevolent people. Um, Whereas the actual history is quite different. And this is entitled, and I'll finish with this one. This is entitled The Mandela Effect. Older white folk like me are very sure Nelson Mandela died in prison in the 80s. Our memories are clear. The clippings of newsprint, black and white images of his last day in the sun as he is loaded into the back of a prison truck. But I've begun to think we've confused Nelson Mandela with a young Denzel Washington in the last scenes of Cry Freedom, the 1987 biopic of South African activist Steve Biko. In Cry Freedom, Biko climbs into the back of a prison truck in broad daylight. But no, I think I'm getting that wrong too. Biko is on a stretcher, near dead from a beating, and it's night. The white guards will drive him fast down a bumpy road, aggravating his brain injuries, causing his death, not that of Mandela, who is remembered by older white folk like me as a statesman, wise and waving appreciatively, classified by prison. He learned to love the guards, my mother said. But I've begun to think older white folk are confusing Mandela with a middle-aged Morgan Freeman in the last scene of Shawshank Redemption, walking as the reformed red along the beach at Zehuataneo towards his white savior, who tells him the ocean has no memory, move on. Young black Birmingham men get hit by fire hose water and fall peacefully, and that is enough. If they get back up, throw stones, burn white-owned buildings, and kill 12 white cops, it gets too complicated. Move on and remember Mandela coming out of prison as everyone's grandpa, telling humanity to forgive for the sake of peace. There's no need to recall him hugging Yasser Arafat and shouting of another closer friend, long live the Cuban Revolution, long live Comrade Fidel Castro. We can assure you that's a memory from the wrong universe. And I'd like to thank you all for listening. And again, please, I'll leave my email in the uh, in the chat, and you can, if you want to pick up a book, it's $15, and you could just we could do an e-transfer, and I can mail it out to you. But yeah, thank you again so much for listening. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rocco. That was very enlightening. I really enjoyed it, and I love the Nelson Mandela effect one.
Yeah, Defensive Looting is amazing. It's a great book. It's really eye-opening.
I love how you tied it into the Stephen Biko, because that's probably what most people were confusing.
Yeah, because I remembered that. I was like, yes, I have this image in my mind of it's like it's a either black and white, and it feels like Nelson Mandela being kind of lifted up and put into the back of a prison truck.
Yes.
And I can see where that whole idea of people having these fake memories, exist.
Yeah. Because I remember, I think it was about 10 years ago when the Mandela effect really kind of hit the mainstream, and everyone was questioning based on what they were seeing. So, yeah. And I love the Chomsky reference as well, the poem. So I love your writing style. I love how descriptive narrative it is, but yet it's quite poignant. I just love that. Really enjoyed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend. I really enjoyed. I hope the other poets did as well. Ladies and gentlemen, let's unmute just for a second and give it up again for Rocco de
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rocco.
Rocco, that was incredible.
Right.
So
that was
timely.
amazing.
So
Absolutely
timely.
amazing.
Thank
Beautiful
you. I really
work.
appreciate it.
I love your writing stuff.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do.
And yeah, please do put your info in the chat, as the other poets will, for where we can find you. If you have social stuff that you do as well, or just anyone that wants to reach out to Rocco, if you're not already in his friend circle, or include him and get to know him. I definitely want to reach out to you and talk with you more, because I see you as a teacher as well. So I'm a little bit older.
Thank you.
I grew up in Toronto in the 80s as a young man, and I loved the city then. I've seen how much it's changed. So
I'm very interested in I'm trying to put together a manuscript and of my memories of the 80s, and how, again, my memories, and because now we have access to so much information. It's interesting going back and learning more of the context of the 1980s from those tiny little memories I remember. And it's very, very interesting how different things are once you go back and explore the context.
You could definitely have a conversation. You can interview this old man, because the early 80s is when I stepped into the corporate world, and yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, I'd love to.
Toronto's a different animal than it is today. So
yeah,
anyway, my friend, well, we can talk forever, but again, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for being our first feature of 2025. That was just fabulous. I actually look forward to listening to it again when I edit the videos and put it together. So
thank you again.
We'll definitely have you back, and you're also welcome to just come and do the open mic. Sounds like you have a busy life, but when you have some time on the last Saturday of the month, you're always welcome here, my friend. So sit back and enjoy the other poets. So, all right. Thank you guys for your patience, and your, not patience, but your attentiveness, and giving Rocco your full attention, because I was watching everyone, and his words definitely grab you, and you want to hear more. So, all right, so we'll get into the open mic part. I've posted the list. I'm going to repost it again. I just had to make another subtle change. It is a long list, so once again, please try to keep your comments to a minimum, but at the same time, speak. And let's get into this. So I'm going to ask our founder, Amy, to lead us off in the open mic.
Thank you. I'm excited about hearing everyone, and that was a wonderful feature, Rocco. Wonderful storyteller, very important voices that you're saying your perspectives. It was just really amazing. Thank you. And now I have a helicopter over me. Okay, this one's called First Snowfall. First snow falling, the ground renewed, places for it to land, window open wide, dreaming dog beside, snowflakes hypnotize, cozy status, gratis, nature shedding ice crystals, tiny brilliant perfections, pale blue clouds pass over, leaving such wonders, it shall not melt this week. Frozen atmosphere dips down, visits chilly earth for brief kisses, leaves us grateful, praying for those without. The second one's called The Songbirds Sing. Lullabies begin in the bedroom, says Billie Holiday. Bittersweet delight, says Chopin. The sun shining in my eyes, my heart says, get up and do 100 pleasant things. I sit with my water, savor every sip, meditate, pray. Raise your glass. Cheers to our blessings, memories, knowledge, creations. Elegies to joyous, golden moments. Elation. Soundtrack to the end of times. Marianne Williamson said, be the death doula and the birth doula for a new renaissance. Warm to the fireplace, the Christmas tree. Mahalia Jackson says, sing your heart and soul out, no matter what. The songbirds sing. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Have I got time for one more?
Definitely.
Cool. Okay, this one's called Through the Hourglass. I need some water. The lush rainforest plays for 8 hours on YouTube. Is the jungle still there? Is it still on fire? Yin-yang world with a seed center, being born each second. We feel extremes. We find out to balance is to swim in uncertain waves. Because you exist, are tender, loving. I have hope, faith, painting with dust, with flickering sand, through the hourglass of the present tense, through the rust of shame, mood board for the soul. Honey and lip balm, spa time at home, also loving. Winter reflections, curled up, burrowing. Things that cannot be unseen. Retinas remember the bleeding, some indifferent to blood and gore, special effects, numb, immune to violence. See your own reflection. It's not new. Ancient as beetles in amber, scarabs made of stone. You brought cowrie shells with you, buried them in the yard where you lived every time. If only they had brought you good luck. In spite of bad luck, magic remains in the smiles of those you love. Hugs and delight in tandem, pivotal memories, scattering reactions, subconscious emotions erupt, dissipate. Blue as sound waves haunt the mind. It is the heart that echoes and call in response. Okie Finoki, Dalfuski, may you find your way home. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying your first. Hope you're enjoying your first moments at in the founder's seat.
It's fun. Thank you. I am.
You're most welcome. All right. Before I call our next poet, we have waiting in the wings Artemis, Charles, and Louisa. So up next, Miss Anjie, my partner in crime. The mic is yours.
Hello, everyone. My first poem is, I have two shorties. It's Nancy Green, A Legend with Taste. Nancy Green, a name hidden from sight, she made every home drip with delight. Born in a world of abundant disparities, hopeless, with spirits high, she never gave up on her freedom she seek. Shackles broken, freedom dancing in the street, spirits soaring high. Her smile lit the room. She always brought delight. First in her shackle-free world with an illuminating presence. A gift so rare, actress and model, she walked with grace through boundaries that be. A presence buried in history, the first and only face on something so sweet. Aunt Jemima, a name to keep. Bubbling personality, hiding truth, dreams denied, and truths unspoken. Oh, Nancy Green, your legacy calls a trailblazer. Your story speaks of stolen voices and justice we speak. May we remember the woman you were, not just the image on a full bottle of pleasure. Your name, your life deserved the light, a star reclaimed, a beacon bright. And my second one is Betty Nesmith Graham, correcting the wrong. The words are a powerful thing. Bad words, good words, secret words, found a new home on lines, walls, and such. Once written, there is no turning back. Officers had no way out. Type it right or throw it away over and over every day, never getting anything done. Once inside for day, after typing and retyping, she became dismayed. That night she vowed there would be no more replay. In her kitchen, she toiled late into the night. She worked with all her might. A formula here, a pinch of that there. One day, the light bulb went off. Painters paint over the mistakes. Typists can paint over too. Eureka, the birth of liquid paper. From the secretarial pool to the boardroom, not just an inventor, but a mentor too. She taught everyone that it's okay to make mistakes because no mistake is forever. With her courage and vision, we can always amend. Thank you.
Well, Miss Anjie, giving the people a little preview.
Of course.
Myself, Miss Anjie, and Artemis are working on Black History Month, and we're bound and determined to provide history that we don't know. And I think if we understand the history that Black people, particularly Black Americans, the great accomplishments that they did, even in the so-called harshest of times, maybe we stand a chance of getting past this nonsense called racism. So well done, well written. I really enjoyed those. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. All right, up next to the mic, the other partner in crime, Artemis. The mic is yours.
Hello, everyone. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This piece it's a work in progress, and it's yet untitled. I'm still going through my purge. And it goes like this. War was waged, no place to hide. The shadow of death walked by your side. Not to be defeated, you dare to choose life. Counting backwards from 100, you bravely go up under the knife. With silent strength, the battle was won. The journey marked by what could never be undone. Left with a handy-dandy scar as a souvenir, a constant reminder to be resilient and always seek to persevere. With a warrior's strength in heart and hand, armed with a measure of courage, you stand as a testament to the new and improved you, wiser, kinder, patiently speaking words that ring true. New obstacles in every storm you've learned to face, you cherish as planted seeds to bloom in a garden filled with grace. In peace. And this is I'm purging from my cancer journey, so this is a testament to my journey.
You just muted yourself, Artemis.
Sorry.
There you go.
Okay. That was the end of it. That was the only piece.
I misunderstood. I thought there was another piece coming.
No.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
My excuse is I'm old, so, short-term memory loss. All right, thank you so much, Artemis. I love that. I love how you have a great way of capturing your resiliency in your poetry. I love that. And it's really, it's a reflection of us getting to know each other now. So I feel it even when I hear it in your poetry. So thank you for that. Thank you. All right, moving on. Before I call Charles, Louisa, you're on deck. And Charles, you have the mic, my friend. Hopefully you're here. I know I saw you. Is Charles still here? Does anyone see Charles? I don't see. Oh, maybe he might have got booted out. Charles is a young poet from the refugee camp in Malawi, and I know they always have connection issues. All right, we'll move on, and hopefully he comes back. All right, Louisa, you've got the mic. You're next.
Thank you, Raul. I wanted to read this first poem from my book, Journey to the Heart Waters, which is a call to East Africa that happened in the late 70s. And I chose this poem because I understand you're Trinidadian.
Yes, I am, ma'am, by birth. Yes.
Okay. This poem won a prize in Trinidad in the New Voices. Anson Gonzalez gave me first prize many, many years ago. And I thought I'll read this as my first piece.
Nice.
And it's called Sky Openings. And this is Khartoum, 1978. The night was totally still, empty of any artificial light or sound, as it rarely is in industrial countries. And although you complain of the troublesome blackouts, the poor electrical connections in Sudan, for me, so burdened with progress and stress, this was the reprieve. The sky so close and black, except for punctuating stars. I could nearly touch the diamonds while you waited beside me, an ancestral figure, head filled with thoughts of the war, bent you were, with only your eyes touching the heavens. You said you didn't want law or politics anymore. But what would be next, we wondered, when the sky brought its unspoken reply. For once, we didn't drop to the earthly plight. For once, we felt space, an interplanetary stellar potential, the end of this Piscean age, pressing us to a new life. And, okay, both of my poems, thank you. I felt a real resonance to the reader today. a sense of we're a different generation. I mean, 1980s. I was 1960s, but we're still fighting the same fight. It's fascinating. And similarly, a lot of it is a spiritual journey for me. Certainly, in my case, it was catapulted away from Catholicism into finding my own way in the world, which took me to Africa, and that became, in fact, the door to my own spiritual life. This is a very long poem, so I'll just read bits of it, but I think it's important for right now. It's called Foreign Affairs. In our differences, we're made more alike. Your jungles are so like mine. From a common sea, we've come, we meet, we find. Doubles, ironies, abounding. You're an exile, I'm a child of exiles. We meet on this strange, impure shore, home of captives, slaves, outcasts, and braves, a place of mixings. You left your country, a place my ancestors invaded. You speak their language, I cannot. I meet you a result of this madness. The horror of war wages there still, directed from this strange and brutal shore. This brought us together. Terrors sometimes bear more than the terrible expect. From the toil and the struggle, a woman brings forth. From these labors, we cultivate the garden of generations. The harshness of this makes a shock. No innocence, nowhere. How do I read this plot? Here we are, you who I was taught was different and the dark, are and are not, but more like me than many who share appearances. Exchanging gifts, we make new kinds of nourishment. The source of trade moves the world together. Giving and taking and giving. We make a pact, the poet and the politician. The labor of generations brought us to this spot. As cultivation spreads, impurity recedes. That's a quote from Ogatameli. I met you before I knew your history. I knew you by the beating of your heart. You were made to know me better by force. Ironies abound. There is still much pain where you came from. We must make exchanges while you teach me community and free me of the jackal's path. I teach you more of individuality and free you of the communal trap. We learn together. We must make a balance. I'll leave it there because it goes on. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to trust what you deliver, but I'd love to hear that whole piece. And yeah, I really enjoyed both your pieces. And yeah,
thank you.
I could see why the New Voices and TNT gave you that honor. So good writing.
Yeah.
You know, that's the beauty of traveling and exploring different cultures. You know, you made the comment that you enjoyed Rocco's presentation and he was fighting the same fight. And there's nothing new under the sun. We like to think, we're so sometimes caught up in the moment thinking everything we're going through it for the very first time. We've been, I wouldn't say we're fighting this fight. It's life. We have to go through the good, bad, ugly, and beautiful of life. All of us. You know, I'm actually not here to have a spiritual experience. I'm spirit. I'm already spirit. I'm here.
I am.
The master. This human experience. That's what I'm here for. So I look forward to hearing more of your stuff, Louise. Well done.
Thank you, Rob.
Well done. All right, up next, excuse me, waiting on deck, we have Richard Harries, but on deck is Christine Dickinson. The mic is yours, Christine.
Hi, thank you. Well, regardless of...
Oh, sorry. Yep, go ahead. Yep.
Thanks. Regardless of whether or not we saw a Nazi salute recently on our screens, I felt compelled to read this one. And after that, I'll read something which ends with hope. Silver spoons. Too big for my mouth always. The ladles, a pair my father procured for his wife. He's 22, war-weary, posting silver, a gift sent home with Messages of Love, 1945. An RAF man setting up the radar for peacetime flight. His unit is ordered to mobilise, redeployed to Buchenwald. A witness. He sticks his photos between black pages, scrolls, ovens, sticks of bones, a heap of ash, all that remains. Turn one page to Dad, leaning on his jeep, cigarette in hand, a boyish grin for the cameraman. He didn't speak of it. Decades later, someone removed the evidence, maybe Mother, she with the amazing memory who claimed amnesia. Impossible to ask or learn under what circumstance, from what manner of residence in Berlin her man obtained serving spoons. Deprived of domestic comforts, maybe, dreaming of the high life with his beloved, or sick with waste, craving the taste of salvage. Shame turns my stomach, the burden of millions, broken families, this silverware dull with time, too heavy to handle, never to shine for our table. Thank you. And now, a more recent piece, Coming of Age. This autumn it has been the chop. Dust sneeze from rampant ivy traps, old wood pruned, compost overfed, garden bag stuffed, stacked for the tip. The fence is bare, brown, stripped of green, earth raw, weeds trampled as we worked. The toil played havoc with our backs, sweeping the saw, stooping with a blade. We took steps to tweak the skyline, laced a bed with bowmeal, planted a juneberry, picked for light limbs, anchored our first tree with foot stamps. Clumps of daffodils tickle her roots, nod to silver buds, white star flowers, curl the trunk in yellow cuffed boots, spring up to welcome a new age. Thank you.
Beautifully crafted work. Very well done. And that first one, I really felt that. Thank you so much, Christine. Thank you so much. Well done. All right, we have on deck Jeff, and I'd like to call to the mic Richard H.
Hello. I've got to mention there's a trigger content warning in all of them, actually. It's a little set I've put together. The first one has just been accepted to HNDL Mag, which is the highlighted neurodivergent and disabled life magazine, and I'm really honoured to be in it. And it's called Into the Wood, and it's about my childhood. Get your coat on, we'll take the dog out into the woods. Happy age 7. Sunday morning, off we go. Mad Dalmatian running round, chattering away to my dad, asking about flowers, asking about trees. For God's sake, stop chattering. Walked in silence, not sure what to do. Walk in front of me. So I did, 100 feet away in silence, confused. What had seemed to be a joy was now awful. Silence continued. No one spoke. Patted the dog, who sensed I was upset. Silent walk all the way home, some Sunday morning. Now, years later, I know that he would have been pissed the night before and went for a walk to clear his head before he got pissed again. Now I know about alcoholism. Now I know it was not me, my fault. But then I blamed myself for being awful. Don't think I knew the word scum, but that's how I felt. I truly believe that a lifetime of low self-esteem and fighting depression started there, in that beautiful, lovely wood. Spiritophobia. I hate matches. I really hate matches. I hate matches indeed. Unlit, in or out of a box, I cringe. Hate them lit. Feel sick if they're dead. I hate matches. I really hate matches. I hate matches indeed. When they are new, they are red, globular and threatening at the end. Nasty, awful things. Get a lighter, do. I hate matches. I really hate matches. I hate matches indeed. I have no really good memories of my dad. He smoked pipes and cigars, used matches all the time. I hate matches. I really hate matches. I hate matches indeed. He thought I was not a real boy. I had to hide to read. I went under the bedstead with a torch. I hate matches. I really hate matches. I hate matches indeed. He wanted to man me up, so lit matches and held them to me. Then he put them out on his arms. I hate matches. I really hate matches. I hate matches indeed. It singed the hair on his arms. Very hairy was he. He did not flinch as the flame hit his flesh, showing how manly he was. I hate matches. I really hate matches. I hate matches indeed. Then he would bring the flame near me and touch me on my arms. I would scream and run away. I hate matches. I really hate matches. I hate matches indeed. I was 7. I heard him laugh as I ran away. I have no happy memories of Dad. I hate matches. I really hate matches. I hate matches indeed. In later life, anywhere, but mainly in a pub, I would move away from someone lighting up. I hate matches. I really hate matches. I hate matches indeed. I would never have matches in my home, and that lasts to this day. If I'm somewhere, they use them, I move away. I would not sit at a table in a pub if dead matches were there. I would move an ashtray with eyes closed. I hate matches. I really hate matches. I hate matches indeed. And when I thought I'd dealt with all this afternoon, I'm watching an American sitcom, and that's why I'm doing this set today. And the hurt returns. I've dealt with it. I have, or at least I thought I had. Then today, 56 years later, after 3 breakdowns and a lot of therapy, I watched an American sitcom about a dysfunctional family. Well, I lived through one of those. The plot is about a teenage girl wanting to go to college, applying, being rejected, being told she's on the standby list. She's traumatized and upset, but finally gets in. Her family, chaotic, are all there with her, all supporting her, being with her. And suddenly I'm back to my teens, applying for college or university, having been thrown out of home by my sexual predator stepmother. I was alone, waiting for offers, waiting for acceptance, and living in a bedsit alone. And oh, I did not get in. So I went through the UK's clearinghouse, the system used to still round to fill places, and did not get in. No one around to hug or console me, just alone with cleaning jobs and bar work. I rang my dad and told him, and he said, "Good, it won't cost me anything." I remember the words. It was all dealt with and forgotten till I saw on screen just how a family should be. I survived and thrived. And I even went to uni in my 40s, and I got a degree, and I paid the bloody fees. And suddenly I'm all upset again this afternoon. I'll deal with it. I'll be right by tomorrow morning. But how something like that just brings it back. And there you go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richard. Strong piece. I love that first piece. Well done. Well done. Well done. Excuse me. All right. Up on deck is Susanne West, and up next, Jeff. The mic is yours, my friend.
All right, thank you. We have at least 4 Canadians on the call today. It seems to be very rare for these poetry Zooms. So as a result of that, I'm going to bring back this one. It's called the Canadian Book Awards. Welcome, one and all, to the Canadian Book Awards for 2025. The Canadian Book Awards serves to award the books that the Canadian literary establishment likes. We seek to promote Canadian values and Canadian themes to which all Canadians relate in a perfectly Canadian way. In Canada. Our first prize at the Canadian Book Awards this year goes to When Crying Bears Shudder in the Wind, which is a quiet, subtle, coming-of-age story about the immigrant experience in the slums of Toronto. Our second prize at the Canadian Book Awards for 2025 goes to The August of Her Soul, which is a quiet, subtle coming-of-age story about the immigrant experience in the Westmount neighborhood of Montreal. Our third prize for 2025 at the Canadian Book Awards goes to The Raspberries Are in Season Again, Papa, a quiet, subtle coming-of-age story about the immigrant experience in rural Saskatchewan. Our fourth prize this year at the Canadian Book Awards is going to Verily Must the Watchman Leer at Sunset, a quiet, subtle coming-of-age story about the immigrant experience in the downtown East Side area of Vancouver. The Canadian Book Awards also has a category for poetry. Our first prize for poetry at the 2025 Canadian Book Awards goes to With Vulnerable Roses Do I Sweep the Curtained Walls, a collection of quiet, subtle coming-of-age poems about the immigrant experience in St. Thomas, Ontario. And seeing that we have some extra time, let us go over the list of books that are not getting any recognition from the Canadian Book Awards. We are not giving a prize to that popular book about the space aliens and the serial killer who terrorize an affluent suburb. Nor are we giving any awards to that fascinating experimental short story collection that breaks new ground in structure and language. The Canadian Book Awards is also not giving a prize to that really funny book that viciously satirizes timeless universal human foibles, nor to that scathing character study that takes bold artistic risks, nor to that passionate historical romance with the vivid war scenes, nor to that sprawling epic about the eccentric family that changed the world, nor to that moving, tear-jerking story about the boy and the dog and the mysterious stranger. And we are definitely not giving a prize to that quiet, subtle coming-of-age story about the immigrant experience in the suburbs of Halifax, but which is also very entertaining. Good God, no. That completes the list of all the books that were published in Canada this year. To close this year's ceremony, we present our annual series of Lifetime Achievement Awards. Our first 2025 Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Margaret Atwood. Our second 2025 Lifetime Achievement Award also goes to Margaret Atwood. Our third 2025 Lifetime Achievement Award is a tie. A four-way tie between Michael Ondaatje, Shane Koizan, Paul Vermeersch, and Margaret Atwood. Our fourth 2025 Lifetime Achievement Award goes to The Rotting Corpse of Leonard Cohen, which we have dug up just for the honor. To commemorate the award, we are delighted to treat you to a special musical performance, an exclusive 4-hour and 23-minute version of Mr. Cohen's Hallelujah, performed on the ukulele by Margaret Atwood. Thank you for attending the 2025 Canadian Book Awards. Every one of our attendees will receive a generous gift bag of craft dinner, hockey pucks, and winter depression. Go, Leafs! So that was the Canadian Book Awards. And if I have time for another short one, stop me if I don't.
Of course,
this was, sorry? Okay. This was published in the Brownstone Poets Anthology last year in New York. It's called I Want to Be a Pharisee. I want to be a Pharisee, stuffed with superiority, all shoving virtue in your face while smacking those who can't keep pace. And when I catch you at your worst, I'll see to it your life is cursed. I'll drain you of your dignity. I want to be a Pharisee. I want to be a Pharisee. I want it all to be about me, all preaching kindness, peace, and love, while flipping birds at God above. And when you make a small mistake, I'll burn you at my virtual stake to purge you down to purity. I want to be a Pharisee. I want to be a Pharisee, eternally seeking blasphemy, all praying loudly in the square to show the plebs how much I care. And when you act against my rules, I'll cast you out among the fools and bask in my conformity. I want to be a Pharisee. I want to be a Pharisee, well soaked in pure hypocrisy, all wearing goodness on my sleeve, while stripping those who don't believe of all their will to live. And when you tell me why I'm wrong again, I'll nail you high upon a tree. I want to be a Pharisee. Thank you. That was me.
I'm pretty sure Leonard and Ramses are sitting there just having a good chuckle laugh over this. Well done. That first piece, man, cracked me up. I mean, you don't have to be Canadian to get the reference, but it helps. But because it could be about anyone, it could be about Americans, Germans, could be. Well done, Jeff. I really enjoy your humor and just your craftsmanship. Well done. Well done.
Thanks, Raul.
Well done. Excuse me. All right, Melissa, you're on deck and up to the mic. Susanne.
Hello, everyone. I haven't done an open mic in a while. I feel a little rusty. And I do want to apologize in advance because I have to leave in about a half hour. But I'll catch all of you on the recording. I have two pieces. This first one is called Love and Pain. Love and Pain, all one word. I open to living raw and real, to deeply see, feel, hear the everywhere pain, spoken, unspoken, grieve the losses, turn towards the despair and anguish, turn towards the shivering, tears and fears, towards the children, our brothers and sisters, our gasping earth, mother. I no longer run to the light as I did in my light chaser days, rush to escape, heartbreak, loss, pain, rise above the darkness. The word was transcend. And I want to empower my voice and courage, grow my heart bigger than it's ever been, and continue to tend gently to its wounds, move away from attaching to the separate me, my, mine, and self-centered wishes, share big love, and take action. Take action. And my second one is called My Sincere Apologies. Every name I have for you, pine tree, mourning dove, persimmon, worm, snowflake, boxes you, solidifies you, places you. Because you're a tree, you can't be my friend, playmate, sister, lover, teacher. You can't be my child. I can't be yours. Tears. If I talk to you, which I do, I'm a crazy one, loose screws. I tell you how I'm feeling. Ask how you are. Gently touch your bark. Ask if there's anything you need. And the so-called inanimate world of boxes, windows, cups, pens. Forget about saying, I'm sorry to the vase I dropped. Excuse me to the door I slammed. Good morning to my beloved coffee mug. Telling my granddaughter, that was so thoughtful of you to apologize to the sidewalk for spilling your milkshake on her. The children know the trance that divides us. My sincere apologies to every leaf, drop of water, spider, shoe, spoon, table that I've had the arrogance to lord myself over, to objectify. We are one life. We are one. Human supremacy, human exceptionalism, the trance. I'm done. Thank you.
Nicely written. Well done. I'm done. Don't give up yet. There's still hope.
I just added that.
I like that. That's good. I'm done. Well done, my friend. Good to hear your voice again. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. All right. Stacey-Anne, you're on deck. And up next to the mic, Melissa. The mic is yours.
Thank you. So this one is trigger warning for slavery and swearing. And probably most of you can feel like this. This is called Woke Up in a Nightmare. Never realised I would wake up like this, in a group of technols taking the piss, standing on the shoulders of what they brought, the president of a powerful nation they caught, not realising, or maybe they do know, how rubbish the world is going to blow. Salute that is going to take a lot of people. It's going to turn a lot of people away. People clapping their hands as they obey. Americans were bought and sold as slaves, wanting to be accepted, something they crave. Women's rights have been removed utterly, non-binary people's rights removed cruelly. The first part of world chaos is here, no longer safe if you're straight or queer. Fearing for my life because we are next. It's time we sent the patriarchy a great big hex. 2030, the project that we can't see put in place when Britain is no longer Britain, our safe space. Today is Burns Night in UK, and in 1791, Robert Burns wrote a poem called Ye Von Kiss, and I'm just going to read this one out. I use the line peace, enjoyment, love, and pleasure. So, peace and joy to all humanity in these dark times when money is power and people committing crimes. Big businesses are treating humans like cows or sheep, buying people's intellectual property on the cheap, destroying people's lives to make them submit to their plan, believing that people are worthless because they can. Hiding the truth from people. They don't want them to know. The people with the power are simply the lowest of the low. They shouldn't stop us enjoying ourselves along the way. Enjoyment is for everyone and not just for the rich, as they say. We are on the planet because we are not dead, alive. Enjoying the sun and the hot weather. Sorry, dreaming. This cold night deep in the middle of our cold winter, having the weight loss plan to get myself 8 stone thinner. Enjoyment of seeing my milestones with a new tattoo. The next one is sentimental and it's just for I know who. Lastly, I have mentioned the system needs to be broken, then my enjoyment can last now that I've been woken. I'm going to speak out my love for the whole human race. Pleasure from yourself or others in the time or in the safe space. Respect my existence or expect my resistance is what I'll say. Doesn't matter if you're the present, get the fuck out of my way. Love is everywhere and we shouldn't try. Love is everywhere and we should really hold it as treasure. Treat yourself with some peace, enjoyment, love, and pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Good to see you here. Good to see you here. All right, just a slight change. Joy, you're on deck, and Stacey, you've got the mic.
Okay.
Stacey.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. It's nice to be here, and I think I'll just read a couple short things. I need to write something new. So this one is called Fluff. And I've actually had this illustrated by an artist. I had a whole bunch of them illustrated by an artist in a show on the wall once. So if you ever want to see her work alive, pair up with someone. It's cool. Before we learn of weeds, there is each little girl picking dandelions for mother. The delivery is all in the presentation. A giant smile pleading for pride. So angry the first time someone says to us, "This is not a flower," stomping on dandelions. Some mothers never tell their daughters. Sometimes that news comes from others. And that boy you liked, like a dandelion, tangled up and still, dying into something to blow more useless generations over fields. He was pretty for a day or two. It's best to be picked early, before the knowing. And what else? I will read, and I think I have one in progress there, so I'll read this, which might also be in progress. It's never been read out loud. You knew me when. If you'd been born, I'd have bought new shoes. One pair before and one pair after. One pair with you in and one with you out. A bump, then at the breast. You wouldn't have much to say, but I would pretend, like asking the cat. You would choose the red ones. You would start to talk one day, and I'd tell you then, you chose the red shoes. Probably for dancing, you'd tell me. And I'd know you knew me well since the beginning. If you'd have been born, I wouldn't have so much time to be crumpled this way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I love that line. That's to be picked early before the knowing. Love that line. Well done, well done, well done. All right. Thank you very much, Stacey. Lucia, you're on deck, and Joy, you have the mic.
Thank you. So these, I picked out 3 poems that I'm working on, a course of like 23 poems from the Pivots to Peace for the local peace economy. So look up local peace economy and join us, okay? This first one, the first pivot is alienation to connection. When in the course, leaving the house, crossing the threshold, never knowing what ulcer isn't to be thwarted, now inviting insult and injury, seeking shelter among like minds to build something better. Not a one to doubt, but always let down, blindsided by both pain and pleasure, unexpected each, in turn and bleeding haphazardly into one another. Wreck of human experience on earth, dearth of awareness, then recollecting a past of recklessness, disconnection. Knowing no obligation overwhelm, dreaming the storied vigilance of the elm. The next pivot, this one's a little bit long, so if you have to cut me off, that's okay. You'll only get 2. Sorry, you know. Here we go. This pivot is self-directed to community engaged. Assuming that one does the work of one's own alone mind, a quirk. Not sober, but quite drunk on self-sufficient illusion, ice shelf of imagined self-direction. What leads to disconnected erection of monuments similarly hewn, unconscious on alien themes. Nature abhors a vacuum, so fits the turtle perfectly to the turtle's shell. Extra space in hell for whose abodes not proportioned well. Upon what turf shall one intrude when edifices are etudes of aggrandizement instead of nature's prescription of fit glove? Ne'er recalling monstrous Babel, its overwrought heap of scrapnel, one nonetheless will return to our earth home in coffin, whose measure is apter and affirms room for fellow creatures, their arm's length of habitat. Wanton mote of dust can be content at that. Share the wealth while practicing your extent of time on earth, stooped for doors that recall that needle's eye. Admit comrades before you die on equal space, each once fetal in our poses. It's nature's rule to find ourselves near each other because we have the same mother. For the flocks who visit Hobbiton, do not fear history's prescription when it espies an humble room. Chances are that close-knit group will recognize like-mindedness and recite together, do less, rest, rest. All that was ever built began when man, by need, was constrict. Big ideas have ample space to be nurtured in adequate rooms. In fact, humility's wonderment opens doors to holy moments. Reach out, don't go alone into detached oblivion. With help, mutual aid, find the will to live out concepts grander still. After all, when one subtends more that nature mind into void pours superfluity, those who needs numb authenticity make creeds of exclusion when inclusion bred much less contempt, confusion. Stress, what we borrow excessive, is what we practice when lofting self. When overlarge is evident, suspect, overcompensate, to wit. Better recognize economy of size, where need dictates from each, and to each what's want, community. The commons met their tragedy because of someone's self-value above fruitful attachment to. All pretense at authenticity disappears when iniquity steps up, stifling what's best in man. In the end, none of it remains. So why not get real, quintessence, acknowledge interdependence and differences whose synergy just might make something energied. And if immensity is what one is thirsting for, a must, inspiration perhaps, or need of expanse of breath, then God speed you to the out of doors where there's more to wonder at, from cairns to creation ever more bare, with room enough to inspire air. Castles that come from virgin stone, virgin born, leave a rape behind, no denying it. Abyss of houses for all we share space with, torn down by a misogyny, not teaching need prohibitively prepare against. It's community that gets each of us through our day. And I have a third one that's a sonnet. Do I have time? Do you want to hear it?
Well, can we just keep it at that? Because that was a very long.
That was quite long. So thank you very
much. You know, save it because Joy is going to be one of the features this year. So, well, not. Yeah. You'll return. You're worthy of it. Trust me. So, if we look forward to it. But no, those two were good. Really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done. I don't see her here, but I'm going to call anyways. Lucia still here? I don't think so. Okay, I just wanted to call. I was going to call Millie next, but Millie, just hold on 1 second. Neymar just buzzed me. I try to accommodate people with their requests the best as I can. Neymar has to leave because her mother just showed up, so of course we could all understand that. So Neymar, if you're, yep, there you are. The mic is yours.
Thank you. Bliss. The bluebird perched on flowering sill, how easily, thoughtlessly taken for granted, gifting tuneful tweets of heartwarming song, coloratura arias resound in the dewy morn. Today, you did not glitter away, almost like joy had come to stay, a contentedly coraled gallery, enchanted, airborne on the keys of spring. Thank you. And the second piece. I am not Berber. I am not a Berber, the barbarian of Greek generals and Roman raiders, cowering in the dust, conquered and crushed, illegitimate invaders, marauding coveted minerals, advancing your empires further, the enemies at the gate, the carpeted caliphates, a pie divided in two, half for me and half for you. Gracias, merci. Adieu. I am a powerful Amazigh who has smirked at adversity for thousands of years, clicking dusty tears, sipping warm mint tea, a Syra dripped from the wounds of the nomad fraternity, rising stronger from the debris. My tongue peppered with Arabic, French and Spanish, souvenirs I cannot vanquish. My words, an oral history of defeat and victory, immersed in rhythmic Maghreb music. I cannot be erased or silenced by the creed of the conquerors with their patriarchal parlance. I am of Al-Kahina and the conjurers, a matriarchal warrior queen. Neither faith nor power can defeat a heart forged in desert heat. Beware, my spectacular spleen. Sands scattered by the wind, I travel across the globe in Al-Maghrib woven robes and olive grove skin. One day, you will say Berber, and I will see our ancestors, the civilized and the barbarian, the Amazigh and the invader, the jailer and liberty's dame. I will face you with fervor as I majestically assume my role. Hear my ululations rising above tribulation throughout history. I am Amazigh. Thank you.
That wasn't a poem. That was a monologue to a great play. Wow. Well done, Neymar. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Glad we could get you on early. Go enjoy your mom. So thank you for
You're muted, Roll.
Well, wasn't that special? You know, it happens. It happens. I was saying, Neymar, that was not a poem. That was a monologue to a great play. That's what it felt like. That's what I said as I was muted. I had no idea I was muted. So anyway, thanks, Clive. Appreciate that. And I also said, go enjoy your mom. I'm glad we could get you on. So, all right, Laura, you're on deck, and Millie, you have the mic. I don't think we can.
Audible?
Oh, there you are. Yes, you are. There you are. Yep.
Good morning, everybody. Now my time is 4 a.m. in the morning. The title of my poem is I Don't Want to Die. Death is knocking at the door of my life, but I don't want to die. He says me after some time, you'll be turned into burning ashes, and there will be no trace for him. Death is knocking at the door of my life, but I don't want to go to his country. He's saying again and again, the pyre for you is ready now, and there is no way to come back. Death is knocking at the door of my life, but I don't want to go with him. I don't know how I may return to this lovely earth. Every moment he is embracing with me. Death is knocking at the door of my life, but I don't want to respond to him. He says, I'm sitting beside you, beside your bed decorated with lovely flowers. You don't know what will happen after some time. Death is knocking at the door of my life, but I don't want to die. I want to live badly. I never want to leave this beautiful earth, which is heaven for me. This is my first poem. Is there any time for my second?
Yes, Millie, of course there is. Go right ahead.
My second poem is Never Broken. Some intimacy will never end. Like me and my sleep, some friendship can never be forgotten. Like me and my love, sometimes can't be shared with anyone. Like me and my sleepless nights, some memories can't be erased from life. Like me and my childhood, some smiles can never be forgotten. Like me and my mother's sweat, some touch can never be erased. Like me and my mother's lap, some dreams can never be broken. Like me and my future, some love will never be demolished. Like me and my poetry, some relationships can never be broken. Like me and my beautiful world. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mill. You know, I love your poetry, and I appreciate that you get up at 4 a.m. or even earlier to be here with us. So I just love the way you pen your words. You sound like an old poet from back in the Romantic days. So yeah, well done.
I'm joining here at 2:30 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Midnight here in India.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Emily Dickinson.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, you're a brilliant writer. Brilliant writer. Well done. And yeah, thanks for joining us. Just goes to show your dedication. Thank you so much. So glad we came across our paths came across you a few months ago. So I'm really grateful for that. Excuse me. All right. Up next, we have another feature later this year. Coming up to the mic is Laura. Clive, you're on deck, and coming up to the mic, Laura.
Thank you very much, Raul. It's wonderful to be here and hear all this inspiring work. And I'm going to do two poems, Layers of the Dead. 3 funerals this week. That's sad, I said. My grandmother shakes her head. We could go to 3 or 4 every week. It's good we know younger people, or we would soon have no friends at all. She stands in a room strewn. Stacks of magazines snicker under the couch, on the chairs, in the paths. Wall shelves bristle with books, arrowheads, fossils, and feathers. Newspapers mushroom from the floor in stalagmite towers. Picking up a clipping opens treasure, collectible blue willow dishes, peach cobbler recipe, Indians on the Palo Duro Canyon. The canyons stretch on, layers of pink and yellow and gray. The wind blows a rocky tune. A lizard crawls by, blinks. I watch for snakes. Thank you. The second one is called Old News. She's purring, your grandmother. She's driving, and you're the passenger, cruising through West Texas in that huge blue gas-guzzling car. Buick rolling forward like an ocean wave. She wears sunglasses, mirrors, the whole personifying everything that was best and worst about Texas. Cruising through the heat of life, you are returned for just a moment, encapsulated in that dreamlike bubble. Car license plate MFL 222, meaning mighty fine lady, she crows. She's purring. The AC is blowing, the air cold, a sweater over your thin, bony knees, the music playing. You've done her bidding, tipped in a 1940s big band 8-track cartridge. Was it Tommy Dorsey, a smooth dance tune, or jazzy swing with Benny Goodman? A tickling lick with his clarinet, crooning and bluing along like butter melting across the farm fields of Uvalde. The spinach and cabbage, carrots and onions, those clean, flat fields sprayed to kill the weeds, leaving a legacy in the water, and the locals knew then and now flat fields of hope and loss. And she's purring across the flat miles of time, miles and miles of thorns that build determination, rough scrub, cat claw, prickly pear cactus, mesquite trees, until crossing Los Morris Creek, where belief said crossing washed your sins away, where once the Black Seminoles soldiered at Fort Clark for the Western moving white men, defeating the Apache and the Comanche, though when the hunt finished, the Seminoles lost their fort home, thrown out on the street. And she's purring, who is part Comanche just a little bit, and about the Trail of Tears said, people can be so ugly to one another. But now purring, purring, as we pass the village where her daddy died, self-inflicted, planting years of post-war trauma. And she's insistent, living in the now of purring, purring with Frank Sinatra singing, and the land laughs and cracks of limestone canyons and bluffs, of standing hills and devils walking canes waving in red-tailed delight, the dry soil socked with rocks, and the sagebrush a gray-leaved hush, the ghosts of early man running a mammoth hunt. And she's purring. This Buick moment cruises through the heat of life, beating big flat hands against the hills and roof of this car as the ivory bloom of a Spanish dagger blinks. The green flash of a hummingbird sparks, while inside the Freon-flavored chill, the tinkling music, the mirrors. Would you like to split a piece of gum, sugar? Bobbity-doop, wah-doo-wah. Thank you very much.
I'm chewing a piece of bazooka and listening to either the Gershwins or Cab Calloway right now. I love the big band reference. That's a brilliant piece. That's a brilliant piece. And then the way you deliver it, your voice. Well done. Well done, Laura. I so enjoy listening to you. So enjoy. Love that reference. All right. All right, Scott, you're on deck. And Clive, you're got the mic, my friend.
Okay. Laura's a bit of a difficult act to follow, but I'll try. This is a bit different. It's actually a piece of flash fiction, and it's called The Bookshop. There had been much discussion and no little bemusement in the town when the old pharmacy building on Lucas Street, which had stood empty for 3 or 4 years, was converted into a bookshop. I say bookshop with some irony because you couldn't actually buy the books, nor could you borrow them. It appeared to be no more than a reading room in a dilapidated Victorian building, which, before it closed, was reputed to be the smallest pharmacy in England. I never established the truth of that local belief, but I could certainly believe it. The mystery is how on earth it could survive as a bookshop come reading room that didn't sell anything. There was nothing to tempt anyone in. A badly designed no-tech sign with Lucas St. Bookshop in yellow letters apologetically trying to be seen on a white background, and a piece of lined notepaper on which was written "The Book Experience of a Lifetime" in small blue-inked capital letters sellotaped to the door was not a great advert for the place. After about a month, no one I spoke to had been in, though I had seen one or two strangers entering. I used to joke with my friend Alison that it must be a cover for something sinister, and one day we would have police swarming all over the area. Alison, who at 32 was 4 years younger than me, I did say it was fiction, was, and the pocket dynamo at 5'1" tall, slightly built with striking long red hair, scraped a living by writing the occasional review for the local rag, alongside other more dubious means, which we never discussed. This could be the ideal place to be the subject of one of her infamous reviews. She was never afraid to put the boot in, and once described a local restaurant as a place so rank that it smelt like the taps were connected directly to the sewer, and where the rats were dying of food poisoning and being left to rot. She asked me to go along with her to the shop, as she felt there was something creepy about it. We went along on a wet winter Wednesday morning. The first thing we noticed was the lack of bookshelves. A few well-known titles were scattered across a dusty wooden table, and that appeared to be it. We were just about to leave, shaking our heads in bewilderment, when what we presumed to be the owner, a scruffy individual who looked like a cross between a failed wizard and a charity fundraising rock star, asked us if we wanted to see the special section. We were reluctant, but felt obliged, so we followed him through a door which would appear to lead to nowhere. To my astonishment, I was greeted with the sight of a vast expanse of crammed bookshelves, and from the gasp I heard beside me, Alison was seeing the same thing. Some of the books proved to be a mirage which disappeared if I tried to reach out to them, but a small number stood out. Alison said the same thing was happening to her. Yes, that's because only writers can experience this room, and any individual can only see the books they themselves have written in a parallel universe, said the owner. Alison said she was seeing books about music, the standout one being a sumptuous tome, The Encyclopedia of British Music 2000 to 2025 by Alison Robertson. I saw something that really pleased me enormously, satirical books, which I didn't think myself capable of writing. The highlight, The Lies of Prime Minister Boris Johnson by More and More, I'm assured that this is a pseudonym I used, was so huge that the room expanded to accommodate it. Then there were the spoof memoirs I was commissioned to write. King Charles Was My Tampon by Camilla Parker Bowles. I Don't Sweat the Small Stuff by Prince Andrew. The Day My Chimney Sweep Retired in Order to Go to School by Jacob Rees-Mogg. Romania, I Have No Choice But to Remain Here by Andrew Tate. A Freezer Full of Pensioners by Sir Keir Starmer, and many more. We spent hours in this wonderful place reading our books with amazement until we heard the owner's voice say gently, "I'm sorry, but that is all the time I can allow you. It would not be wise to stay any longer." As we reluctantly left the shop, Mr. Galdofish told us we must not reveal what we had seen because it could cause all sorts of universal disaster. Writers had to find their own way to the shop when the time was right for them to do so. Alison's review of the shop was short and to the point. A bookshop without books is a bit like a bus without wheels. It needs a miracle to last the course. It was rejected by the editor, and Alison absolutely did not care that it had earned her no money. She knew that in a parallel universe, she was the eminent authority on early 21st century British music. And although that didn't pay the bills in this universe, she could always revert to the more dubious practices. Thank you.
Brilliant story. And I love the diversity of your writing, from poetry to satire to fiction. You're brilliant. Brilliant mind, beautiful mind, my friend. Love the
Thank
way.
you.
Love the way. All right. Excuse me. All right. Ike, you're on deck, and up next, Scott.
Well, no time to type, but I love the sci-fi fantasy aspect. Story and poetry. Always, but particularly in these times, there's a tendency to, well, it's called identity politics. You're not oppressed unless you're one of this group or that group. Never mind that if you're not a recognized minority, you can still suffer oppression and worse because you are not a recognized minority. Anyway, this was, I got involved with the efforts to get a new trial for Mumia Abu Jamal. But because I was, fact is a fact, because I was white, the woman who made arrangements for the benefits from Mumia wouldn't let me perform, for nothing, of course, for free, that is. And even Pam Africa herself called it racism. But anyway, this was the Sable 11. We got arrested. Letter of congratulations to Holly Davies, March 2008, for Julia Utz and for Quinn Brisbane. 1. We all live in history in a place called the world. My name is Scott. You don't need to dread. Not my voice or messages from this part of the world. It's referred somewhere in the Talmud. If you saved a life, you saved the world. 2. Once upon a time, 11 people got arrested near a house. A judge lived in the house. 200 or so people stood between a man and a death chamber. Most of the people went away. 11 chose to confront. Word from counsel said that we pulled it off. Jim Bevel did it again. New reason for a maverick to be vilified. Talk and hypocrisy. Otherwise, those who didn't confront might be those who ran away. I almost left a worthless life, a muted voice, in the jail, in the cold. It wouldn't look bad for what we were doing. 3. Once upon a time, I intruded on an evening. You provided information to move beyond corruption into the decades, through the world. For a worthless life, a muted voice, I won't apologize that intrusion. We know better than that. I'll congratulate you, Ms., for saving the world. I'm also going to have to run away kind of early because I have about an hour's walk ahead.
It's okay, my friend. I like that a lot. It's good to hear you back, reading. I hope you could be more consistent, but you take care of yourself. Stay warm. Stay warm. All right, Lloyd, you're on deck, and Ike, you have the mic, my friend.
Oh, magnum mysterium. He walked every sunset on our beach with his wife in tow, hand in hand though, waving hello to the dolphins, passing silently by. On a bench side by side, me and my wife watching the dolphins gracefully rise and dive, telling us how lucky we are. Yes, They walked every sunset hand in hand, touching us with mystery. How beautiful they were, strolling silently by, hand in hand, side by side. It is a few days now, and he's walking alone. We were wondering why. He looked lost, grey. His walk, now heavy, he ignored the dolphins. There was no ocean in his eyes. We guessed and thought she must have left him. But where did she go? What happened to their love? Could this happen to us? Finally, we had the courage to say, "Hi, how is your wife?" He stopped and stared. "None of your business," I expected his response. As he faced us ever so slowly, I felt sadness in his life. My wife had passed. "Cancer," he said. "Exactly 3 weeks ago, as of today." With an emptiness in his defeated sight, he turned like a ghost, and he trudged away. We sat frozen in time, speechless. The ocean drained away, the beach, suddenly empty, had nothing to offer, nothing to say. The dolphins, gone for the day. I looked at my wife, she looked at me. Our bond realized fragile eternity. Will she ever sit alone on our beach, on our bench, looking at an ocean where dolphins say nothing anymore? To me, to you, to us, life had exposed love's cruelty. When time ceases to be, yet defeated time shall celebrate. But what, I say? Past happens, now forever, became our everyday victory. Guten Abend, gute Nacht, von Englein bewacht. Thank you.
Simply brilliant, my friend. Good to hear your voice again. Love your storytelling. You know, the infusion of your life history. Beautiful. Well done. Well done. Excuse me. We're getting close to the end, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate your patience. Lantern, you're on deck, and Lloyd, you have the mic, my friend.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for hanging on. Thanks for listening to me and giving me the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. James, for setting up the event. Appreciate the opportunity to share my stuff. My name is Lloyd. That's my book. I'm not going to read from that immediately. I wrote something last night that's really motivating me right now. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. This is the story. You are laying next to me, arm across my chest, leaning in while we cuddle in bed, talking. This is the story no one told me in required reading books. Romances are so often filled with drama in the movies and on TV. Even in Romeo and Juliet, the lovers die in the end. How is that supposed to lead to happiness or enlightenment? Where is the partnership that knows what our dreams are and is our loudest cheerleader? Where is the friendship? Where is the story where we figure it all out together? Where is that relationship? This is the story I found in her hands. This is the story. With her, I laugh and love and don't care that I don't know how to dance. And when I cry, I hold her hand even tighter, and it makes the worst days better. And when she cries, I am right there beside her, holding her hands in mine. She is holding my hands and hers. And when she wins, I hold a megaphone, because when we glorify each other, we elevate ourselves. And I'm going to hold her whether we're up or down. That's the story. That's what's been missing from the fantasies I was reading. All they have is drama to sell pages, but they miss the point. It's all the quiet moments too, and the awkwardness that turns into laugh our ass off sessions, and all the moments where we know just what we're thinking, or finish each other's sentences, or say the same word at the same time and then say jinx as if our luck depended on coincidence. It's the quiet moments that speak the loudest. That is the story. The things that make my daylight would probably bore the shit out of somebody else, but the little noises she makes when she doesn't know she's making them are the best. And the bubble we build together, full of trust and love and all the things safe and soft to land on, and all the things she does for me without asking, not because my love depends on it, because it doesn't, but because she knows me and she loves me and she shows it, just like I'm there for her. So this is the story of the rock we stand on with each other. And what we have is a true partnership with open communication. We show up on our best days and our worst days, and we don't have to figure it all out at once. We know we will be there for each other with whatever comes. This is the story. And it's in the deeper truth of what I learned before we met, when I finally learned to love myself with all of my faults and strengths, and value myself for the effort instead of just for the results. I learned to forgive myself for getting lost in the graphic novel when what I really needed was divine literature. I forgave myself for all the fuck-ups I distributed and the blown opportunities, so I was receptive. And that's when we met. And together, we've learned to see each other through each other's eyes, to see the story unfolding like another spring for a rose, to see each other as love sees. This is the story no one told me when I was younger. This is what I needed. What a gift. This is the story of love. What a treasure. This is my story of love. This is the story of us. This is the story. And this is the best part.
All right, someone needs to turn that into a screenplay.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, dude.
You want to be my manager?
I'll do the management part. That is that's got to be one of the rawest, most real love story poems, writing, whatever I've heard. No disrespect to any other poet, but I so enjoyed that because I felt your journey.
Thank you.
Into manhood and accepting love. I felt it.
I just wrote that.
Yeah,
I literally just wrote that. You ever wake up in the morning? Are you ever going to sleep and you get a line and then you get another line and you're like, man, now I got to wake up and write this thing down. Yep. That was this morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock my time, you know. Eastern Standard Time.
I have one like that I need to get on, but yeah, just not last night, the night before. I went to bed. I was dead tired. And then this thought came and I couldn't go to sleep. I had to get up and write it. So
do I have a chance for one more from my book?
Go right ahead. One more.
One more.
Because that was just so beautiful. Beautiful. Well,
and this is really, my book is full of stuff that's very similar to The Host. So this is one of those. It's called What Happened to the Age of Reason. It has taken too long for any of this world to make sense to me. It happened too fast to unnormalize that molehills were made from mountains of smoke and mirrors, the LLCs picking up where once higher climbing paid off, building themselves up with the arrogance of bright lights that thought they were stars and therefore had dominion over the universe with all of its natural consequences. We have limited our perspectives by money, cubicle, or fear of death, by reductive reasoning so strong we use a river in Egypt to describe the Nile when no river is big enough to encompass all of our fear rationalizations. We pull the rug out from under progress with bickering and deadlock instead of heeding the inscrutable lessons that we all know are coming for us, whether we call it God's judgment or natural selection. It feels like forever and a day you're taking their sweet-ass time with this cosmology shit. When are we going to realize that we are all we've got? Who are we and who the fuck do we think we are? We treat each other as if we are replaceable, as if we are not precious. In the Bible, we're told that we have a value far beyond rubies, but too many of us are just impressed by the polish instead of respecting the precious that made us. We get dazzled by flashy, bright things that were cut into submission, or carrot and stick us with impossible to live up to standards like the brass rings that only lead to debt, or the silver-plated linings of capitalism that have no depth like any other kind of prejudice, or a system that can only define masculinity in opposition to a uterus. How long can we keep doing this? Kingdoms have risen and fallen like dominoes without ever acknowledging how their game fucked over the people that paid the most for the loss. And even if you're not fatalistic about declining empires, the ruins we keep digging up from deep underground should tell us how hard it is for us to learn from our mistakes before we inevitably fall. That's that bit. Hey, check out my book. It's on Amazon. I made a deal with the devil, so it's on Amazon.
Put your information. Oh, go ahead, Scott. Go ahead.
I'm posting. Hang on. Okay, I just posted some of my socials. You can follow me there. If you get to my Instagram site, you can get a link to my book. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the time, everybody. I really apprient it. And thanks for all your comments. Thanks for all your comments. I didn't get a chance to respond to them, but I really appreciate them all. It keeps me going. Thank you.
You're most welcome, Lord. You beat me to the punch. I was going to say put your info in, but glad you did. I'm going to reach out to you. I really enjoy. I wanted to have a chat with you and talk more. So, well done. Well done. All right. Excuse me. Finn, you're on deck because then you're the last poet. And Lanton, the mic is yours.
Greetings, bro.
Good to see you, brother.
Gratitude to all my fellow poets here on this illustrious platform. In the reservoir of my tears lies the agony of my longing. My heart is in searing pain, nauseous from the bitter fruits of life, like lemons, chewing on the weightiness of expectations. Locked in the agony of pain and sorrow, I search within for days and nights, with fear clutched within my shallow breath. I walked alone in the midst of darkness, unable to see a lusted light. I played with the pendulums of love and hate, my heart scorched in seeking a peace, constantly evading my spirit. The pain in my soul was once 1,000 scrolls of despair, with me reeling from the weight of dead elephants and shadows. I was like one in an ice cellar, with only the chill for comfort. Now I cherish you with life itself, but you are my life, so what can I give to you? Hold me in your loving embrace and make me yours. I look in awe at the butterflies, the illustrious dawn that spreads your peace. My heart's music whispers your name, while the soul dances to your lute divine. Now I walk in the scent of spring flowers, chatting with lilac lavenders. For you, I would love to do the impossible, steal the miracle of sunsets, paint a kaleidoscope of exquisite beauty like Da Vinci's Mona, because I'm so much in love. You are my perpetual flame, a panacea in times of struggles. Lily of lilies, so white and pure, garner a portrait of love inside my heart, and let the breeze carry my agony of longing to your abode of bliss sublime. My tears flow like bubbling fountains, making their way across reservoirs and Iguazu falls. I am your priceless lotus, waiting to unfurl, still lost in the aroma of my dreams, yearning for your arrival. My heart hungers for the love eternal, deep within your nameless paradise. The lute of thy music resonates within, my soul humming your concertos, whispering to the glow of begonias in bloom. This disciplined heart of mine focuses on the thing that matters most. Only you, my beloved, only you. All else is meaningless to me, save the love that endured to the end of timeless time. This dream I cherish. Last night I sat outside my window, drunk with the vistas and celestial wine of heaven. The stars were so beautiful. I saw the silvery moon as if dancing in my wine chalice, bringing solace to the inner fire of my longing. Now I bathe in the sunlight of the joy of daybreak. As a child, Mom would carry me with arms locked across her bosom. I felt so safe. Now I feel 1,000 times safer, 100,000 in the rays of your illumining smile. Beloved, how can the bleak winter years of yesteryear compare with the sunny glows of today and tomorrow? Few prevail because we lack that inner hunger. You, my queen, is the source of all my aspirations and will never fade. Roses may look beautiful in the hands of a bride at a wedding ceremony, but you are my only flower, and your roots bud, bloom, and blossom are superior to all. I hear you calling, oh lantern carrier, come, let us dance within the sweet fire of the mystic sun. Today my golden heart is dancing in a paragon of joy. Let the songbird of your soul sings in this festival of supernal light. Kiss the folds of my beauty and merge in me. No river can compare to the vast ocean of life. No desires can match the peerless state of your eternal music. You are my vast infinite ocean of life, the sweet effulgent flames of the vibrant symphony of the love eternal. Lantern Carey, thank you.
Words for the soul. Words for the soul. Thank you, Lantern. Thank you for your beautiful structure of words and just how it enriches our soul. I really always appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You may be last on the performance list, but definitely not in our hearts. Always good to see you, Finn. You get to carry us home, my friend.
Thank you so much, Roll. Good afternoon, poets, and I just want to say, Rocco, your poetry gave me life today. What an absolutely fabulous set. So, for the sake of time, I just wanted to share 2 poems. This is an older one called I Am a Banishing Spell. I am the waiting candle. I am the licking flame. I am the banana blossom, heart-bearing sand pebble tear. I cast out the hollow trunk chest. I cast out the rot consuming my sugar pulp center. Forgiveness gnawing at my guava bark goodwill. I am the pepper of bitter rosemary. I am the salt of my dissipation. You do not touch the fine red dust on your knees to the woven mat of our bamboo yielding floor. She sways once. She dances along with a shifting weight within my muscles. She reminds me in the curvature of my relenting reed body, besides the tensile will of twining fiber perseverance, of not cragged patience. You are not welcome here. I am the pungent, sweet sage. I am the sacred tree branch. I am my palm cupped beneath the gentle flow. The spring water creek delivers in her generosity. Know this, I wash my hands of you. Your fate is not solvent object, is not tangible, is not your will. Through Sister Hecate, your poison is cleansed into its beginnings, into its purity. My surrender is our offering. I see my 3 stern faces relieved of their sorrow. I am cradled within furled flesh fronds of my safety. So it was, blessed be, so it is. And then I wanted to end with a really, really, really old one. This one is titled Where Truth Coats the Diaphragm, the Lips, the Ear. Apology on my lips is the first air pushed out. Please understand, it is weary, not confronting, not aggrieved. I will bother you to take time and hear Listen to these words open up my lips. Even against my will, they disperse. 1,000 spores airborne, touching and tickling noses, inhaled deeply. I want you to know them, commit them to memory as they are right now, before they become someone else's to digest, regurgitate, a chemical reaction in the transformation of their worth, their meaning, the moment they force their way up the windpipe, gagging the throat to hasten release, on their way rising. I have learned the truth becomes only what is revealed first. Bold-faced captions, never what is unspoken, never what is waiting politely for its turn to speak out. I have learned the truth screams the loudest. It is never quiet. That is a burden kept in closed circles, passed around, whipped up to a dizzying speed, crashing back down. The weight, the yoke of opinion, forged in judgment, made culpable. So at the end, everyone's shoulders give up the fight, gradually sag. I have learned the truth is delectable. Court's scandal lingers and hugs the mouth, ready to fizz and spit. No wonder at all that no one wants to listen to the unpopular version. No one wants the residual grit, the boredom, the damning facts that gather and perish at the bottom. I've learned all this while waiting that the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth has escaped. Someone, anyone, catch it. Everyone playing at volunteering, but no one caring to rise up. See what lines the edge of the cold metallic bone, move the laundered fluff aside to crane their necks and peer above the comfort of their perception. Assumption is the best weighted blanket. I heard a rumor. There is a damning photo floating around, words disparate, litter the cutting room floor, a call that could have happened, but didn't. Did I miss anything in this frantic retelling? Why do you look at me askance? Why? Was there more? I heard a rumor. They believed everything they first imagined. They swore in their minds, you promised something. Said you led them behind you, knowing I am barely able to balance on the same cliff. See, I too plunged to follow. See, I joined the adoring queue. I heard a rumor they fell hard for you. You reciprocated in kind. I loved you. I adored you. You stumbled. I stayed. I thought. You still ran, scared. I have learned the truth untended forms. Irrevocable curse fades to corner of bronchioles to expire. A delusion of grace overwhelms the lungs' corridors. Unminded, it gushes back up.
Oh, my Lord. Well worth the wait. Brilliant. Beautiful writing, Finn. Beautiful writing. Can you unmute for a second? And I know there's a couple of poets that are the new. Tell them about your literary your.
You're muted.
Oh, okay. I must be getting tired. I'll say that again. First of all, I said that was just beautiful. Well worth the wait. Love that story and love the way it was crafted. Can you unmute for a second and just let some of the newer poets know about your efforts, because you have a magazine and they're always calling for submissions, so it best comes straight from you.
Thanks so much, Raul. I have a platform, poetry platform, called Vocabulary. I'm also the lead editor for an online magazine called Mayari Literature. And then I'm also a co-director with the Poetry Global Network, PGN. And we do everything poetry, everything literary. We're trying to welcome new voices in Poetry Global Network, PGN, for our second season of our publishing wing. So you could actually find all of those. There's a lot of them. It's on my Linktree / Finn Bell. Thank you so much. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you. You're welcome. And I'll post it in in the Gestalt group and also in the Inspired Poetry Corner. But since you were here, it'd be good to hear from you. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the show for today. What a fantastic start to 2025. Rocco, my friend, and I'm going to call you my friend because I'm going to reach out to you and I would love to have a conversation with you. I was just so blown away with your artistry and the depth of your work and your words. Very insightful. I love your commentary on life itself.
I've really enjoyed being here and listening to everyone. And again, I really, really appreciate having the chance to contribute. Again, thank you very much.
Oh, you're most welcome, my friend. You should take a bow. Very proud of what you've done. Get your wife to make you a big hunk of chocolate cake and celebrate together. So, but thank you for doing that. Thank you for setting the tone for 2025 because you did admirably. Next month we get to feature Richard Harries on February 22nd, coming up with the Inspired Poetry Corner. This coming Wednesday, we're doing our third installment of a series on Above the Noise called, the series is called Black Like Me, Life in this Barrier. And we're going to feature on the philosophies of Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois and the effects that both had in the Black community. So I hope you can join us. I know it's a long day to some degree when you do these long shows. You had so many people that wanted to participate in the open mic. We don't like saying no to anyone. So I appreciate your patience, and I know you're used to it. It's so good to see so many people stick around. One of the things I will invite you to do is, you guys have a lot of poems. Don't be afraid to break out the ones that hasn't seen the light of day in a while. Poets are always apologizing for not writing something new or reciting things they've recited before. Because I've heard many people's stuff before. And every time I hear it, I hear something different. I hear something new in it. Secondly, as poets, we don't always have to agree from a political standpoint. But man, when we sit down and listen to the creativity of each other, it gives us a chance to maybe have different conversation, and us poets can lead in a different way. We're human. We're going to experience the good, bad, ugly, and beautiful of this life. Not some of us, all of us. And we get to do it together. And as harsh as things are right now, and it may seem that way, there is still a lot of good and beauty on this planet. Try to remember that. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And I thank Amy again for tapping the Inspired Poetry Corner to carry on this tradition. We're going to do our best to continue what she started. And to all you new poets that showed up today, please come back. Your voices were welcomed and appreciated. I thank you all. And in future, you'll probably see Miss Anjie hosting more of these shows. I just wanted to do the first one and set the table for the Gestalt Open Mic, because the tradition that Amy started continues. I love you all. Wherever you are, enjoy what part of the day you are. Stay gentle with yourself so you can be gentle with someone else. Peace.